Oh, right. I think I gotta fix my mic just a second here. All right. Sorry about that. What is up, everybody? This is a big show. We got a great show. We got Packrip Ewing. He is in the green room right now eating the melons and the sliced pineapples. And it's been a big week, a very big week. In fact, that Roham AMA or office hours, that was quite eventful. I'm curious what you all thought about that. We know that the S1 reserve packs are coming. We will go over a lot of stuff that Roham talked about. We're going to hear Packrip's live take on that. And, you know, the week started off a little bumpy, but that flash challenge that we got on Wednesday was like the beginning of a new era, in my opinion. That was something that really started to get our curiosity going. So Packrip's got a hard cutoff today of 45 minutes, so we're going to do the 5 topics more formally after he's done. But in the meantime, I know some of you like to come in later. You're going to have to hit rewind, but we're here. We're ready to go. We got Coffee here. We got Steve here. We got Tandy NFTs here. We got Mauro here. Coffee saying OMG. So without further ado, we got to jump into it a little earlier than usual, but let's bring in Packrip Ewing, and we're going to get his video because, of course, that's what I do. I make videos for people. So let's get that video going, and then we're going to get Packrip Ewing in here.
Wow.
All right, there's the man himself, Packrip Ewing. No sci-fi goggles.
No. If you thought I was actually a 7-foot tall former basketball player with laser eyes, I apologize for misleading you for the past 9 months, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people may have thought that. They may be a little bit led astray right now. They might be just closing out right now, just disgusted, thinking that you were literally Packrip Ewing.
I rug pulled everyone.
But anyways, really great to have you. I mean, I got to introduce you a little bit. I mean, most of you probably know Packrip Ewing. He famously tweeted his way into the Vegas Summer League event, which was amazing. He puts out a mind-spinning amount of content through Packrip Media. He grabs all the good talent like George Steinbrenner or something like that. He comes up with these unique challenges, comes out with competitions. In my opinion, he's almost like the official color commentator of NBA Top Shot. So if you need to know what's going on, you follow Packrip, you follow Packrip Media. And I don't know what else to say. He's been to 2 IRL events. So he is more ingrained into NBA Top Shot than probably just about anyone else I can have on the show, minus people who literally work for Dapper Labs.
And believe it or not, I do not work for Dapper Labs. I know there is some speculation that I've heard it all, that I work for them, that they own Packrip Media. None of these things are true. I am just a guy in New York that loves basketball and blockchain, to quote the great LG Doucette, and loves making content, man. I just live for that shit. Oh, Tandy.
You already used 1. I said I'd give you 3.
I tried. No. I told them I would keep it PG-13, and I've already cursed in the first minute. Great.
I think that's PG-13. I think. But yeah, so tell me a little bit about your story, then we'll jump into the Roham office hours. First of all, I'm curious, like, what was the moment that you decided I'm going to start making content around NBA Top Shot?
Yeah, so I mean, I have always made content my entire life. I'm a marketer professionally by trade. I've always been a very creative person, someone that loves to write. And for me, like, marketing was just naturally the most responsible and realistic professional path to like be creative and make money for a living. So I've been doing, content marketing, product marketing, demand gen marketing my entire career for the past 11 or 12 years, but always in like a B2B, very boring sense. And I would write and like create content for fun on the side. I had a stint where I wrote a lot of BuzzFeed content for their BuzzFeed community and generated over like 1 million page views when I was like 24. Had a really nice hot streak there when I was creating a lot of content. I spun up an Instagram account for my puppy when I got him and got him to like 5,000 followers in a year. So I just love like diving in and making content and kind of like obsessing over something. And Top Shot is obviously way more fun than most other things. I discovered it in February on the 19th. It was like a Friday afternoon. My friends and I, we had bought GME and made some money off of that. We were dabbling in Dogecoin. We talk about investing. We've always been, ambitious and risk taking kind of, reckless people in that regard, gamblers to an extent also in sports. So when Top Shot came into our radar, we were just like, this is awesome. And it was really cool. Like, the product obviously is undeniably great. And the website is really fun to navigate, especially when you're first kind of diving in. And especially back then, in the early days of S2, when there wasn't as much to look at, there was, it was a much more kind of specific collection. And I think that weekend we really we're trading text back and forth. I probably spent like a few $100s of disposable income. I'd always, like, in my entire life, set aside a little bit of my paycheck, every paycheck, to like gamble or invest whatever money I wanted to lose or waste. I always had like a budget for that, right? Responsible irresponsibility, I suppose. And in like March and April, I had really, started to like get more into it. It was probably, Top Shot is very addictive. So that first weekend into that first week or two, I bought a lot on the marketplace. I probably spent like between $500 and $1,000 over my first week. And then I hit like a stress test pack drop, which was my first pack ever. Super thrilling. I got a Dame Lillard, a Luka Doncic, and a Devin Booker, all the 15,000 S2 commons. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. I sold those for like $1,000 total. And then I aped into the gift challenge because I didn't know about challenges yet. And I was like, this is fun. I want the Derrick Rose gift reward. I'm a huge Knicks fan. This is his Knicks first moment. Not knowing like the dynamics of how challenges work. And I spent $2,500 on the 5 moments that I needed to win that challenge. And then, I think I probably sold those moments a month or two later at like a $2,200 loss, unfortunately. But as I became more and more ingrained in the Top Shot community and spent more and more time on Twitter, I just I think I wrote a blog post, like the 4 lessons that I had learned over my first month or two in Top Shot about challenges, about all these other kind of dynamics of the marketplace and of the community. and I published it on Twitter. I created my Twitter account as like Collector Top Shot, very generic. And I was tweeting a little bit, but it didn't. I had like a few hundred followers, maybe. I created that account maybe like the last week of February, the first week of March, and LG Doucette was like, "Hey, love the content you're putting out. You might want to think about like rebranding yourself." He had DM'd me. We were talking a little bit, and he was like, "You need a name. You need something to like stand out a little bit." And Packrip Ewing just like came to me the next day while I was having lunch. I was eating some pizza, not working, browsing the Top Shot marketplace, thinking about like clever puns, and it just clicked. So I rebranded, and then like fittingly enough, a week or two later, I had discovered the All Star Freaks project, which is another really like my first NFT outside of Top Shot. And they had this Packrip Ewing, my signature avatar that I bought for 0.1 ETH at the time. And that was how Packrip was born. And ever since, like it's when you're a creator, when you're like someone that likes to, whether it's video or writing, whatever the case might be, when you like find something that you really like connect with and have fun doing, it's just more rewarding to do it. And I found that like once I started writing about it, I just couldn't stop, and it just went from there.
Awesome. Well, the passion definitely comes through on the content. I have to say that what I really also enjoy about the stuff that you put out is you're sort of unafraid to be polarizing. You're unafraid to confront people, not in like a bad way, but you're, a sketchy NFT comes out with Kobe Bryant looking like he's made out of Play-Doh, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, let me get these guys on my podcast immediately. And that's what I really appreciate what you're doing in this space.
Well, we'll see how confident and bold I am now that I'm not anonymous anymore. Now that people can,
exactly.
point to this friggin' nerdy white guy is talking shit. But like I always like, people think of me as an influencer now. Obviously, I have like almost 20,000 followers as of today, which is mind blowing to me and very flattering. And at Packrip Media, we're about to cross like 100,000 page views since launching. We have over 50,000 podcast downloads. So like things have escalated very quickly, as they tend to do in the NFT community in any, capacity. But I'm still the same guy that had like 0 followers and just was very opinionated. And, I've always been a smart ass and not one to bite my tongue, for better or for worse. And, I have hot takes. Some of them are dumb and stupid and wrong, but I still think what I think, right? Like I'm not gonna, there's no fun in like being in the middle to me. Like I would rather be passionately right or passionately wrong, but passionate one way or another. And I try not to just like be generic in any way.
Fair enough. And I think I wrote in my tweet, do you guys have any questions for Packrip? And one guy was like, ask him why he doesn't remember the 2012 finals, because he said like Westbrook has never been to the finals, and he's like the OKC. So he wants to call you out on that.
I remember as
okay.
South Park.
Remember berries?
Remember berries. That's right. I actually love the Thunder. I am tormented by what happened to that team, because I loved Durant and I loved young Westbrook, and I mean Harden. I that was always, as a Knicks fan, it hasn't been until very, very recently that I've actually like been able to enjoy watching Knicks basketball. So I always found other teams to like root for, not like in a front runner way, in a way that I always just had like my Western Conference kind of favorite team. And growing up, my 2 favorite players were Dirk and Rasheed Wallace. I loved the Jailblazer era Blazers, and I loved the Mavs. The Mavs with Dirk, Nash, and Finley were like my favorite basketball team ever. I always loved Mark Cuban, just because I thought he was so cool, right, and successful and interesting. And I, when the Mavs era was kind of winding down and Durant came into the league, I was like, this guy's insane. Like, how is this a real NBA player? He's like, if you made him in a lab, you couldn't even come up with something that it's like in NBA Live when you would like create a player. It's like, well, I'm going to make him 7 feet and have 99 at threes and 99 at dunks and 99 defense. Like, it shouldn't exist. So I love that team. And, whenever I give people a hard time about that, I forgot that they had lost in the finals. That probably repressed memory, frankly, because I wanted them to win so badly. And then when he left after the Warriors, I thought that was a cowardly move. But it was, it worked out pretty well for him.
Sure did. Now, of course, Stephen A. Smith is hot taking all over the place that he should never have gone. But this is an interesting question from Poker Pro Eric. Is there a rule that all Top Shot influencers have to be white males in their 30s with glasses? So that's, you know what? I should actually make a poll. How many of you in the chat are 30 years old, white, and with glasses? I think we're gonna have to do that in a second.
I mean, Poker Pro Eric, for what it's worth, I normally don't wear glasses, but I ran out of contact lenses, and my order from 1-800-Contacts, not an ad, hasn't been delivered yet. So I brought the glasses out, as you could see by the loving glare emanating off of the frames. But, you know, it's a good question. I think that Top Shot and the NFT market is generally white and male, and probably, you know, 30 to 40 something year olds, because we have the privilege of disposable income, right? And we're intellectually curious and financially loose, and we could, you know, waste thousands of dollars on NFTs for fun and hope that we'll make money from it. But if not, like, we'll be okay, right? And that's just a socioeconomic thing. And I'd love for more people to be involved, women, minorities, whatever. Like, you know, that's the NBA is an incredibly diverse league, probably the most diverse fan base of any professional sport. But yeah, I mean, Top Shot's pretty white, so that is what it is.
True. So we're gonna get to these kind of questions in a second. But one person's asking reasons to be bullish. I'm kind of curious, since you're a very critical thinker, like based on office hours, and I can actually maybe bring up my slides, even though we're gonna do that later. But what are some things you're feeling really good about? We'll start there. And while you're talking, I'll bring up those slides so we can actually look at some of the things that were covered.
Yeah, bring up the slides. I mean, for me, I just think transparent and open communication is a good thing.
Yeah.
NFTs inherently, the beauty of the blockchain and what we've all kind of discovered this year is just a space and a product and an investment vehicle or a game or a collectible, whatever you want to think about it as, right? That is just more transparent than anything else. And I think that the most successful or interesting projects in the space embrace that transparency through and through. So for me, like, it was just nice to hear Roham's voice again, or to hear from him again, because we haven't had a Roham office hours, I think, since the end of S2 or maybe the playoffs. It had been a really long stretch, and they were like, well, we're canceling office hours because there's no reason to do it anymore. The summer is going to be dead. Obviously, that wasn't true. They did a ton over the summer. But, you know, getting Jake up in front of a microphone once a week just wasn't really suiting the strategy or fitting what the community wanted. So it was nice to hear from Roham. I think that the good thing and the bad thing about the office hours was there's no, and I said as much, Roham is an incredibly charismatic and empathetic and like passionate leader and CEO. You could ask him to talk about anything for 30 minutes or an hour, and you'll leave that conversation feeling optimistic and excited, because that's what successful people do, right? And I think that he said a lot of really good things. He told us what we wanted to hear. He answered questions pretty well. Some people might think that he dodged questions. Some people think that he might have been pacing around his house and whatever. Like, that's irrelevant to me. Like, how he wants to answer questions while he's doing an AMA, you know, it's fine. I like to walk and talk too. I do it all the time. For sound fidelity purposes, I won't. But, you know, I do that. And I think that the real question for me, the real kind of proof point will be like, well, when will these things actually start to happen? Because it was a lot of, here's what we're going to be doing, and it's going to happen soon. And I'm patient, but I think that the community as a whole isn't. And I think that the biggest kind of barrier and hurdle that Top Shot faces is that things happen so quickly in this space, and people forget, and people expect more all the time. And whether it's other NFT projects or just the amount of time we spend on Top Shot, also the fact that like Top Shot never closes. Like, the stock market has fixed hours, and then there's, you know, the market's closed, and the weekend the market's closed. You just do other shit. Number two. But like Top Shot, other than like the, you know, random maintenance on Wednesday afternoons when we all think something's gonna happen, it's just like flow maintenance or whatever. Like, it's always on, and basketball is pretty much always on, and we're just so dialed in because we love it and because it's a great experience and product. But, you know, that creates a challenge for them where it's impossible to satisfy everyone. And, you know, the amount of people that are on Top Shot Twitter actively engaging in this discourse so often is a minor percentage of their total customer base, right? But we're very vocal and loud, and we want them to succeed because we really have fun doing it, because we put a lot of money into it, more or less. A lot of money being relative to every individual person's situation, right? Like, people think I'm a whale. I started with $500, and then I just put in more that I could afford to spend, every week or every month. And, now my account, I mean, listen, I'm not trying to brag. It's on Moment Ranks, right? I think I probably have like 50K on Top Shot, which to some people is like the most money they've ever, like, that's so crazy, you're rich. And some people it's like, that's nothing. But like, I mean, I made a withdrawal because I needed some money to go. I'm going to Hawaii in 2 weeks, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to withdraw some money from Top Shot, and I'll pay for it with that. Like, and not all of that is even profit. It's just money that I had sitting in my Top Shot account. Top Shot relative to other investments is, pretty conservative. It doesn't fluctuate that much, and it's a reflection of the low ask. There are flaws in the valuation sites that I've always expressed, right? Like, we've seen how quickly the market sentiment could change, and in the doldrums of August, to the point where Summer League was announced, Nine Lives Lounge Utility was announced, and BelieverBot was launched, and Jack Settleman came back from this card show in Dallas. It was like, there were thousands of Luka cards that were like all worth over $1,000, and people were buying them. It's just like, oversupply isn't a problem. Like, all those things happened very quickly, and suddenly my account was up. Like, it was a $40,000 swing. I was down 20K to up 20K in the course of 10 days.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I was like, okay, so, if we're patient, all of the things that they're promising will be delivered. They have $1 billion valuation. They have incredible team, incredible investors. They're the official NFT partner of the NBA. Like, it's not going to fail, right? Like, Top Shot won't fail. And if you think that it will, you need to just like take a breath or do something else, or like unplug for a day or two. Like, everything is going to be fine. But we're so in the weeds and so deep into it that when they have a typo on a moment, or, the challenge is too hard, when in reality, like, challenges aren't for everyone, right? Like, there's different tiers for everything. We get upset because it's just fun to complain. And then you get that validation of the notifications, and it's like, cool. Like, especially for me, I mean, like, I get so many notifications every day. I just tweet for the notifications sometimes because it fulfills this, insatiable. It gives me this fleeting sensation of like, oh, cool, I'm winning, right? Like, it's Twitter is a game in the same sense that Top Shot is a game. But I think that the AMA in general was really good to loop it back. I'm particularly excited about a few things, but at the same time, like, they didn't actually deliver anything yet.
Yeah.
It was all just promises.
Yep. I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, we can look over a couple of these things and if anything stands out, but I think talking about the Roham rewards was a big thing. But again, we heard the couple months, which in NFT terms is like 12 years. So people are not going to be satisfied with that. Team sets was interesting, I think. I think I didn't actually dive deep into like what the team sets are doing, but I'm guessing that people are probably putting a lot of their funds into that if they had to choose a place because of this leaderboard idea. What do you think about that leaderboard idea? You like it?
I think it's interesting. I don't think it'll move the needle because it's like inherently like not biased, but people with more money will like have the team set, right? Like, it's not inexpensive to complete a team set, and if that's kind of like a metric through which they're now gamifying this collecting experience, you can't get lucky through pack drops and complete a team set. You can't buy a Chicago Bulls pack, right?
Yeah.
You have to kind of participate in the dynamics of the marketplace to eventually get there. When I started collecting on Top Shot, I had 3 goals. Knicks complete set. When I joined, like, Carmelo and Amare, February peak were like crazy expensive. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would own those moments. The Vince Carter last shot, because that had like a very special significance to me, nostalgically, and just I love Vince Carter. And it was against the Knicks, and then the Dirk Nowitzki run it back, which was always like my white whale, holy grail. I need that, and in February that was like $10,000. I was like, I'm never going to spend $10,000 on this, but I think that incentivizing people to collect things that are aligned with their fandom is a smart strategy. I think that focusing and narrowing what people should aspire to collect is a good thing, right? And I think that if you can only do so much, team sets, like, they've been talking about this since May, June, July, right? Like, team sets will have utility, common moments will be common, rare and legendary moments will have significance and special kind of benefits that come with collecting that down the road. I adjusted my strategy pretty accordingly based on that kind of, whether it was alpha or whether it was just we're telling you things that are coming down the road and we don't know when they're going to happen, but we know they're going to happen. Top Shot has a very funny the Top Shot community and ecosystem has a very funny way of, we hear it once, we kind of ignore it. We hear it again, we like maybe listen to it. And then they announce Nine Lives Lounge and everyone's like, I'm going to go buy LaMelo Ball for 50% more than I could have bought it for 3 weeks ago, even though they told us this whole time that they were building a Soho house for this complete set and that this was the flagship set of Top Shot set. It's like, you know, how much do they need to like put it on a silver platter for you before you just, you know, have some like deductive reasoning and make your own decisions versus them like saying, if you buy this, you get this. You just need to like connect the dots on your own sometimes, because they can't always, they don't want to like say it until they could say it officially. So for me, like I sold every common moment that I had more or less, other than my Knicks and like very, very, very budget floor, like $2, $3, $4, just like milestone moments, like the Jason Tatum 50-point game, 60-point game. And I was like, I'm going to buy rare. I'm going to buy legendary. I'm going to have a Knicks complete set. And that's my collecting strategy. And that's what I did. And I think that, you know, like for people that are upset about S3 oversupply or the price of, you know, S3 moments or the expected value of those pack drops, that's what they're doing. They're creating a bigger gap between the floor of common and the ceiling of legendary and rare, right? They want there to be that disparity where anyone could come in with $20 and buy like 5 or 10 moments, and someone could come with 20 grand and buy stuff that's really valuable and special. And like, that's the difference between Top Shot and most other NFT projects, where like a lot of other NFT projects are measured by their floor, and the floor is a indication of the health of the project. But Top Shot has so many different layers of collecting and content and product that it's designed to be accessible for everyone and have different paths for every collector. I think what they described in the AMA is ultimately a more concrete product vision and collector vision for how those different forms of utility and collecting will be rewarded. And I think, you know, to their detriment right now, so much of that measurement, the leaderboard, even the complete set utility, even, you know, it's all on third-party sites, right? Like we go to Own the Moment, we go to Evaluate, we go to Moment Ranks to find this information, because none of it is really baked in. Even collector score is very challenging to calculate. And, you know, the ability to see if I have the complete set is relatively new in the grand scheme of Top Shot. But I have to go to Own the Moment to actually see who else has a Knicks complete set. And I have to find them on Twitter and be like, yo, cool, we're Knicks collectors, right? Like you would think that every complete set would have like a Top Shot official Discord where the only way to get access was to like authenticate with your Dapper wallet, right? Like it's obvious. And when they do that, I don't know, like they're building towards that, I have to imagine, but you know, we're not patient. But I think in general, it was a lot of stuff that we wanted to hear. None of it is ready today. I think the biggest surprise for me was that Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals moments are going to be burned next week. I don't think that was on your notes. It was on page 2 of your notes.
Yeah, there's a lot of notes here.
It was a long office hours, which I appreciate, and like they need to do it more often so that they're not catching up on so much.
Agreed.
But you could even see yesterday there was a bull run on those moments. It's like we've always known that those were going to get burned. They've told us so much, but because now it's officially happening next week, everyone's like, oh, I want to go buy them, because I think that obviously they're going to go up in value and it's going to be a good investment. And, you know, people treat Top Shot for better or worse like the stock market sometimes, even though they shouldn't.
Right. But what is your take though when you're talking about supply? Because I know a lot of people are concerned about oversupply. Theoretically, a lot of junky floor moments shouldn't bring the platform down, in theory, and that's why I was a little confused why it happened the first time, and now the second time it seems like it's not quite about oversupply. It seems like it's, how do I say this? It seems like it's not about the fact that there are junky packs. It seems like it's about a loss of trust of some sort, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Having a lot of junky packs should make your rare stuff worth more, not less.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that a lot of it, not to get like too nerdy and philosophical about it, is like community sentiment. It's like, and like behavioral psychology, right? Like people always say this, like Top Shot doesn't control the prices of the marketplace. Every listing, all they do is sell packs, right? Like they do not sell individual moments. We control the price of the individual moments, and our appetite to have the instant gratification or satisfaction of I'm a Strokes fan, so Gratisfaction is a Strokes album. the satisfaction of selling a moment and getting that notification and having that money to then go spend on something else. The only way to get that is to undercut the low ask, right? Because we want it immediately. It's hard. I think that a lot of it is really driven by a lack of specifics about the roadmap that was released. Like that roadmap with all the pack drops, legendary deck to hoops. We're gonna have team base. Like there was a lot of cool product information in that blog post that came out, but there were no dates, there were no prices, there was no specifics. And in reality, it should just be like, here's a calendar every week. Here's the pack that's going to drop. We're not going to tell you the exact date, but at least you know when it's coming. And people are so reactionary and responsive that any piece of information puts them on tilt, where they're like, I don't know what's going to happen next, and I want to be prepared, or I want to be liquid, or I want to, like, it's hard to speak for everyone. Obviously, I can't. But I think a lot of it is just a certain level of like a lack of confidence combined with a lack of transparency around growth, where people see the floor is dropping and they think that means people are not as interested or invested in Top Shot anymore. And where are the new users? Because the new users would be buying those moments up. They're trying. That's what happened, obviously, when they grew so fast that they didn't intend to. That tens of thousands of new users came on the platform. They swallowed up the supply and inflated the floor price of every moment. Where my friend's first buy on Top Shot was like a $750 Enes Kanter MGLE. Like, why would you buy that? Like, who wants that, right? For like that, who was like, cool, like this is the cheapest MGLE moment. This is probably a good investment. Like,
right.
Sure enough, we woke up the next day and our account was like up 50%. And we're like, let's buy more. This is great. So I feel like so much of it's this vicious cycle where like they do something, we react negatively, it creates this negative market impact. The market, it's hard to keep up, but it would all be solved if like, suddenly the marketing was turned on and 50,000 new people joined and they all bought packs, and like it could change so quickly, as we've seen multiple times. But when it's bad, it's just this vicious circle and it just spirals down and down.
Yeah, and I think like for better or for worse, in this case, I suppose for worse, Top Shot kind of started the NFT, I guess, awareness in a way, and they will forever be tied to other NFTs, and they can't help that. And even though they can come on office hours every week and tell you that that's not their vision, it doesn't matter. Like they open Pandora's box. They're like, their name is inscribed on that box. So when other NFTs are doing crazy action and crazy things are happening on other projects, people can't help but to like dunk on Top Shot. It's, they're like forever tied.
I was in a Top Shot Discord that I got invited to early in my Top Shot career once I started like becoming more of a presence. And I was in that Discord in like the NFT channel the night that everyone was like buying and minting Bored Apes. And I had never minted an NFT before. I didn't know how that worked. I didn't have a Coinbase wallet. I didn't have Ethereum, and I missed it. And like, I was like, obviously in retrospect, there were so many things I should have done. I've had plenty of successful NFT endeavors that have treated me very well. And, I've made nice money from. So like, obviously that pains me to this day that I was there and I kind of skipped it. And then the next week I bought Pix Puppies, which were this terrible project. And I was like, I'm not going to miss the next one.
I remember that.
Schiller was like, Pix Puppies, these are great. It's like everyone loves cats. This is the first great dog project. Everyone loves dogs. This is going to be a big hit. And I bought like 10 Pix Puppies. I was like, what did I just drop $2,000 on? Sure enough, like 2 weeks later, they were worthless. And, like, that's just part of the NFT education for you. But I think that, there is this unhealthy expectation for what Top Shot is relative to other NFTs. And there's this unhealthy expectation for what Top Shot is as like an investment for people that are participating, where they really, I think, do a better job than almost any other company on the planet at like listening to the community, adjusting for better or for worse, and trying to be proactively and reactively like improving to make people happy. And you could just look at like what's happened with S3 as an example. Everyone, when packs, I want packs. Like we've all made that joke before. Well, guys, now you could buy as many packs as you want. You could buy 10 packs. Why is there so much supply? Well, what about challenges? You launch a challenge and now all these moments are artificially inflated and it's so expensive for me to participate in challenge, and I buy the challenge and then I lose money because the challenge moments dump right after. Well, what if we took challenges and said, You don't have to use specific moments, and we're going to create more and more and more supply so that you could more easily and accessibly participate in more flexible challenges that are more affordable with less volatility. And oh, well, there's a typo. Well, yeah, that's stupid. That shouldn't happen, right? They're going to fix that. But like, they have really like strategically and thoughtfully accounted for a lot of the mistakes of S2 in the S3 rollout. And now like flash challenges are a thing where it's like, oh, cool. Well, I bought 5 S3 packs and I don't really want those moments. I could sell them for like flat or a $2 loss. And like, listen, if you lost $2, like get over it, right? It's $2. If you can't afford to lose $2 or $3 on Top Shot, like maybe you shouldn't be doing this, not to be rude. But okay, cool. So now Juan Toscano-Anderson led the NBA in assists last night, and I could win a free pack just by having that moment from the S3 pack I didn't want. So you're incentivized to hold, because instead of dumping Juan Toscano-Anderson to the marketplace, maybe he's the leader in rebounds or assists or blocks next week, and I can get a free S2 pack just for holding that moment. Or I can use those moments that I don't want as trade tickets to an S1 pack, and I bought 10 S3 packs, and now I have 30 trade tickets that over time I could reach that 300 or 350 or 400 trade ticket threshold to do so in a way that I'm not dropping $10 on the marketplace for a floor moment, which is going to cost me 3 times more money to get to that number, right? So like, if you remove your own emotion from like the experience of what they've been doing and really think about like why they're doing what they're doing in response to the feedback we've given them, it all makes sense, right? Like, it's just easy to be upset because it's fun to complain.
Yeah.
And like, I'm guilty about
isn't
it. I complain all the time, right? When I complain, I get more engagement than when I compliment, right? It's fun to complain.
Yeah. So what is your take then?
As Jews,
go
we're
ahead.
kind of programmed to complain, you know. So
What is your take on the S1 reserve packs? Are you trying to buy $3, $2 floor moments? What's your strategy there?
So the short answer is no. You know, like, if I want an S1 moment, I'm fortunately in a position, other than like LeBron or like the really premium stuff, that I can just go buy it. I love the idea of ripping an S1 pack. I never had the opportunity to rip an S1 pack, right? I came into Top Shot, the peak of S2, the worst possible time for the most part. And I would love to rip an S1 pack. But for me, not even the money, the idea of spending like 8 hours individually buying 350 moments to trade in for tickets is just like irresponsible and boring and not fun. Like, if I could bulk buy the floor, like there was a new technology that was introduced a week or two ago called Genie. And Genie is an NFT tech that you can basically sweep the floor of a project, and you could like set your budget and you could set your parameters. And if it's chain runners or if it's whatever new flavor of the week NFT might come out, and you want to buy like 30 of them and you have 5 ETH, you could set the parameters and it will just automatically buy. And if one of the transactions fails, it'll buy 29. And boom, there you go. And like, Top Shot obviously doesn't have that yet, but it would be great if I could say, buy 100 floor Jason Tatum S3 moments, and this is the max budget for it. And I don't care what serial number it is, because this is designed with the purpose of like stacking and then trading. And
yeah, they absolutely need that.
It's great that like the trade ticket technology today has the ability to bulk trade moments in, because when I ripped those terrible S3 packs, I traded them in. You're able to select all basically and trade, and I got my 30 tickets. So I got 30 trade tickets from those packs for the most part, because I just didn't want them. And I didn't want them in my collection, like curating this luxury, like collection of Knicks and rare and legendary moments. I don't need these things that I don't want in my collection. There's no like hidden folder like there is in OpenSea, which
they should do that.
A cool idea. But
yeah, that is a good idea.
Like, it's easy to trade in the moments. It's not easy to buy in bulk. So for me, it's not practical to do that, because I have like 125, 150 moments. I already got rid of all the stuff I don't want. So if I could maybe like say, I'm going to spend $1,000, get me as many trade tickets as possible for this much money, and I'll roll the dice because I'm a gambler on that S1 pack, knowing that I could get like complete floor, not, I don't want to besmirch any NBA athletes, right? But like,
I know, you gotta be careful.
I could get like, Ish Smith and Michael Carter Williams and, like not pull LeBron and Luka and Steph. And
Yep.
obviously that's what people want, right?
Yep.
There's amazing upside. If you were to get 350 trade tickets, you could pull a LeBron Top Shot debut or a Luka, not Luka because he's not in, doesn't meet the criteria for this one, but Curry or Giannis or LeBron.
Yep.
Like that would be life changing for people, and that would be like the best marketing that they could have. That would change that person's sentiment forever. They would be the ultimate Top Shot loyalist, and nothing could ever shake their kind of positive sentiment for Top Shot if they took their 350 trade tickets that they took a long time to get, right? Like there's no easy way to 350. It is a time-consuming endeavor one way or another. But I won't personally be doing that. I'm also the kind of guy where like I want to see how the first one goes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do the second one or the third one, right? But like I don't have time. I have a 10-month-old kid. I can't. I'd rather with the time I'd rather write a blog post, right? Like I don't have time to go buy 300.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
What about you? Are you gonna go for it?
I've been trying to amass. I've been amassing. As they were $2, I've been amassing, and now it's gotten really hard to do so. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough, but I have quite a lot because I've been doing it for the last few weeks. So I have something like 240 $2 moments. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to make I'm not going to make myself nuts. I'm not going to start spending over like $2 or $3 if it's in a pack. So if I get there, I get there. If not, then it's also okay. But I know you got to leave soon. So go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've never been like a live token sniper. I don't have the speed or proficiency or patience for that. But I think it's really nice.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
I think it's really nice that now they've set the bar at 350. Like we know for better or for worse, that's probably how much it's going to cost moving forward. Yeah. So at least we could plan and accumulate, right? This is going to be a 12 to 18 month process that these packs are going to be rolled out. So, if you don't get it this time, maybe in January, you finally have 350 and you could do it. And it's actually going to be a lot more fun because it was a challenge to get there, and it's going to be more rewarding. Yeah. And hopefully the contents of the pack are good, but I think it's okay.
Well, I actually kind of have like a spicy take that you may or may not agree with.
Oh,
I think that obviously it's incredibly hard to get this many tickets in the next 9 days. So I think there's not going to be a ton of people in line. It's going to be a pretty good hit rate. Also, I think that when a bunch of people get these packs, there may be some undercutting, even though it's only 500 packs. So what that might mean is the S1 floor might go down. They're going to see that not a lot of people got in line. And therefore, the next drop, not only is the average pack price lower now because it's been undercut, but there weren't a ton of people eligible. So I'd say it's quite likely that we will go from 350 down to, let's say, 300, barring some massive change in how you buy trade tickets. So let me just play Shaq because I got to give myself the spicy take.
Spicy.
What do you think? Is that a good theory?
I think you arguably have the best video production of any live stream, for the record. And I do think that's a good theory. I think you're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know I got you for a few more minutes, so I could ask you a 1,000 different questions about Top Shot, but I think the time is right to do at least one or two Genie's wishes. So let's get that going. All right, brought to you by Topps Wooden Coins. So Packrip Ewing, here is your Genie's wish. So right behind you, in front of all those framed photos, poof, big cloud of smoke, and Will Smith is behind you, and he says, "Listen, Packrip Ewing," in his blue makeup, here is what I'm offering you. I am going to give you the option, and if you take it, what will happen is that Knicks will make the Eastern Conference Finals. Not only that, but you will get to go to at least one game, sit on the floor next to Spike Lee, share popcorn with him. That's what you get. You're right. All right, well, I'm doing it, right? Okay. But in return, if the Knicks lose in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the finals, if the Knicks lose, if they don't win the NBA Finals, you then become an absolute Hawks super fan. If the Hawks are in the playoffs at that point, you become a massive super fan for the rest of the playoffs. All your content is around the Hawks. Your avatar changes. You put out walking your child videos about the Hawks. All you do is talk about the Hawks. If they're not in the finals, it's even worse. That means the entire following season, you are a massive Hawks fan, and all you do is talk about the Hawks. You can throw in some Top Shot, but you are Hawks super fan number one. Your avatar is Kevin Herter. So Is that something you take?
100%. Like
All right, too easy again.
every single time. I mean, for me, like Spike and like that experience of like floor with Spike, I would probably do a lot of things for that.
Don't want to know what.
Like there's that. B, like the Knicks would win, right? Like I'm that much of a I'm just dumb optimistic about all of my sports teams. Knicks, Giants, Mets every year. I think they're going to win it all, no matter what like context or logic or conditions might be around that. Like I am just like they're going to win it all until they're not. So like I would just blindly believe that the Knicks would win. And I actually kind of like the Hawks, to be honest. I never rooted for the Hawks before, and I certainly hated them in the moment of them just embarrassing the Knicks in the playoffs. But like I respect the hell out of Trae Young, man. That guy is like a pure like 80s movie villain. In the most NBA way, and I think they have a great team, and I would have a lot of fun. John Collins is such a good dunker. They have such great chemistry with Capella. Like I wouldn't have a problem rooting for the Hawks. So like I would definitely do that.
So that was way too easy. Are there any NBA teams where you would turn this down? I'm guessing the answer is no. What about
76ers? I would never root for. Philadelphia is trash. I hate Philly. All things Philly. I would never, under any circumstances, actively root for Joel Embiid. He sucks. Ben Simmons is the worst. I would rather like live in a dumpster before I lived in Philadelphia. So even though they're the same thing technically, because Philly is trash. So like, yeah, I wouldn't do it for Philly.
Jimbo, if you're watching this on replay, just skip ahead. Don't watch that part we just talked about. Wait, so are you telling me that if I change that to Philadelphia and your avatar becomes Joel Embiid, you'd say no?
I would say no. Yeah.
Oh wow, jeez.
I would say
ahead of time. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's spicy.
Spicy.
All right. Here's the last one because I know you got to go.
All right.
This one. I hope this is harder for you. If I had known Sixers, I would have said Sixers. But here's the next one.
Okay.
You get to choose Top Shot clips alongside Austin. You are in the editorial editing bay with Austin for every single moment. You get to choose. And I think that you would enjoy that quite a bit. You can bring Time Lord with you. The two of you are in that editing bay. And you can fact check everything. You can write the descriptions. You can do whatever you want. All right. But in return, and hopefully I'm gambling here. I hope I'm getting this right. In return, for 10 months, you are not allowed to have a single bite of New York pizza. 10 months. And not only that, but your family orders it every week.
There is no circumstance in the world where I could go 10 months without eating pizza. if I were suddenly to wake up tomorrow and be gluten-free and lactose intolerant with the most like adverse side effect, if I were to indulge in those delicacies, I would just, I would deal with it and I would eat pizza. Like I probably eat pizza 3 times a week. There's no circumstance in the world. If you were to say like, I'll give you $1 million if you don't eat pizza for a year, like I wouldn't be able to not eat pizza for a year. It's like my favorite food without a doubt. It's just like I'm wired to eat pizza. It's in my DNA. So if you were to say like you're CEO of Top Shot now and you get Roham's job and salary and equity, everything, I'd be like, well, give me the pizza. Sorry. Like, yeah. So pizza over everything, I guess, is the moral of the story.
All right. Well, that's a good place to end here. I'm glad we could talk about it. I'm glad I nailed. I got you. It's so hard to get people on this. I finally got you. That's great. I'm happy about that. All right. Well, I know we're over by a few minutes. I know you got to get to your family. And I'm sure we could have talked for another hour or two, but we'll have to just continue this on a later date. But thank you, Packrip, so much for joining. Any last words? You want to shout out to the community? I know they can find you on Twitter, Packrip Ewing, but the floor is yours.
Packrip Ewing, packripmedia.com. Thank you so much for having me, Tandy. Next time I will get it. My daughter will be napping. I'll wear my contact lenses. I'll have proper lighting. It'll be different context. I'm currently in my in-laws' basement right now. So if you see all these crazy pictures and it's dark, it's because I'm literally in like her childhood basement, my wife's childhood basement. So this was fun. I appreciate it. I hope that now that people know what I look like, they don't stop reading my stuff, and this was a good time. I appreciate it, and I wish I were in Portugal with you instead of the winter in New York. But have a great weekend. Obviously, what do you mean? I'm going to talk to you in like an hour probably on Twitter. But I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everyone listening, and thank you for putting up with all my nonsense and for indulging me in my rambling.
Well, it's the best kind of nonsense. So I'll let you get back to your daughter, and thank you so much for coming, and I very much appreciate it. So that was Packrip Ewing. We're gonna let him go. See you, Packrip. Thanks again. All right. Well, that was very great. I enjoyed that quite a lot. We have some more things to talk about. I have a couple people that I'm going to invite just because I didn't know that Packrip was going to only have 45. So I'm going to invite a couple people to the stage. So let's see here. I'm going to invite one at a time here. I'll put them in the green room. But yeah, that was awesome. And, Packrip graciously came without his Patrick Ewing avatar. I was a little concerned that might happen. So, in general, I like being able to see people. I think that makes for a better show. But the show's not over, people. We are going to talk about the week that was, because we kind of had to just jump ahead because Packrip had a tighter schedule. So I'm going to invite a couple people on here, and we are going to talk about the week that was, and maybe this will be something new. We're going to talk about the week that was with some people together. So first, we're going to bring on our good old buddy Metz, because Metz had his redemption story via Packrip. So it's only right to have Metz on when everybody thought Metz was full of crap, and then all of a sudden Packrip interviews him and he's Top Shot's darling. So
who thought I was full of crap? I don't know about this.
Nobody. No one thought you were full of crap.
How was Packrip? I've been out all day. I didn't get a chance to tune in, unfortunately. How did he do?
Well, he was great. You're gonna have to look at that. You're gonna have to look at that. Did he show
his beautiful face, or did he have his silly little avatar hiding behind it?
No, he showed his beautiful face. That's the whole point.
Good.
Yeah. So, by the way, let's check on this. Let's check on this reserve pack. We have 46 votes. If people are going to go for the S1 reserve pack, and it's overwhelmingly no, 78% are not going for the S1 reserve pack. How do you feel?
What about you, Tim? How do I feel? I'm kind of torn, honestly. I overindulged in S1 stuff. I, like most people, I got into the platform late February, early March. I didn't know anything about anything. I thought, you want the stuff that came out first. So I probably overspent for some stuff. I'm assuming I'm afraid to look at what I've spent for stuff, to be honest. I was mostly buying stuff off market from whales who were trying to liquidate a little bit. So I have a ton of S1 common stuff, and I guess I don't really need any more. If anything, I probably need to diversify out. Actually, I made a little trade last night and got out of some of that stuff. But it's tough. I mean, if you're a degenerate gambler, this is a very appealing opportunity, right? It's kind of high risk, but super high reward. I think a lot of people are obviously not going to be happy with the results.
There's gonna be fireworks. So in other words, you're not going for it. Then sounds like
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And maybe if I go for it, maybe I keep the pack unopened, right? Because I never got an S1 pack. We've never touched Series 1 packs, right?
I know, right?
Maybe those things are worth money in the future. I mean, right, like there could be a LeBron debut hidden in there.
I know, that's the only thing. If I got that thing unopened, just thinking about that LeBron is going to keep me up at night.
Yeah, but think about it. If you hold that pack unopened, which I know Alex and those guys probably have, Steve, those guys probably have plenty of unopened Series 1 packs that they're, planning to sell for thousands of dollars down the road. That could be an asset in and of itself. And then you're gambling. Is there a $10,000 asset inside, or maybe not, but maybe somebody will pay you $4,000 for it, and your $750 investment that it took to get there, or whatever the number is.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Because I feel like if I got one, I feel like I'd have to rip it for the stream. But on the other hand, I kind of like that idea. I kind of like getting one and just letting it sit and watching what happens.
This might be the one pack I ever, and I don't have enough trade tickets to do it. And it's such a laborious process to try.
Oh, it's terrible.
Them. But if I did have the trade tickets, and if I did do it, this might be the one pack that I would leave unopened. I can't leave anything else unopened. I mean, I need to know what's inside. I need to know if I'm hitting big, which I never do, but I need to know anyway.
I know, but you never know. It's always that's the gambler's thing, right? So let's talk a little bit more. So I got Clegainz backstage as well. Clegainz, if you want to jump on Clegainz, I see you got your stuff turned off, but I'll start.
Get on here, man. Brooklyn.
Yeah, once I see you in that green room, there he is. So here's Clegainz. Oh, let's bring him in so you can all see him for a second.
What's up, bro?
Good? That's good. What's up, man?
Guys?
just chilling.
Yeah, I never heard this dude talk until the other day on I forget what show, but I like this dude.
Yeah, Clegainz kind of he made some like solid predictions, I think, from that Roham office hour. So it's even more interesting to have you on here to talk about the Roham office hours. How did you feel about those office hours?
Well, if you saw Roham quote tweeted me, not to humble brag real quick, but yeah,
you're kind of famous.
Yeah, a little bit, just in the past couple of days, but I was very happy with it. I know there wasn't a lot of like exact details of what was to come, but he did touch on a lot of points that I know the community has been, shouting out from the rooftops for a long time now. So I think just hearing him mention them and the fact that, hey, this is on our to-do list. We're aware that this is what you guys are looking for. Here's some other teasers for things that are to come in the future. I think even though there wasn't a lot of detail, it's nice to just know that he's acknowledging us, listening to our ideas, and making it known that they care about what we have to say.
Yeah, and I think Metz will be the first person to tell you that just hearing Roham talk about nearly anything. That's what Packrip said too. Like, just having him as a resource to just come and just talk to us is insanely beneficial to everyone involved.
He's the perfect celebrity CEO, right? Like, we're in the age of celebrity CEOs where you don't necessarily know what the CEO does behind the scenes, but as long as they're good in front of the camera and they can instill a sense of confidence and inspiration in people, that's more important than anything. And, I can speak firsthand because, I do chop it up with Roham on Twitter fairly frequently. He is super in tune with what the community is saying. He wants to know, he wants to do better. And I think, the biggest challenge right now has been manpower. They don't have enough good people. And I think that probably came across a little bit in his office hours, and they're being much more overt about posting, job postings on social and having their people push them out because they're kind of desperate for passionate, smart people.
But wasn't that kind of a surprise to you? I mean, it was kind of a surprise to me because over the summer, it seemed like every other day they were like, we just
hiring somebody new. Yeah, but
we hired this person from DraftKings. We got this person from Disney.
They're hiring high level people, but you need people to execute, right? Like they don't have a bench. I think that's kind of what it boils down to. They don't have a strong bench, and that's what they're desperate for.
All right.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, like just because you hire high level people that have had great experience at a lot of well known companies, right? I think it's very tough to find people just brand new that don't know the product already. And then, to come into this role, you have to teach them from the ground up. Here's what's happened in the past. So, here's what happened when we first started. Here's, we have whales, we have these lower guys, we have S1, S2, S3, and just going into all that detail of the history of Top Shot for someone that has no exposure to the platform,
right?
Qualified or not for any position, it's still going to take some time to get them acclimated and really understand what they need to do here and how to proceed.
See, that's when we need members only, collectors council, and that's when they should just chop it up with people of all different account sizes, critics, stands, jump on the stream. We won't let anybody watch, and that
is definitely something that will happen. This collectors council thing that's been thrown around, that'll definitely happen. But again, like anytime you implement something that it's logistical issue, like you have to manage it, you have to build it up, you have to maintain it. And they don't have the manpower to do these extraneous projects.
And this is actually a good point. I mean, not exactly the Disney dorks, Poker Pro Eric, but
hashtag no Disney dorks.
But yes, this is a good point, which I heard elsewhere. He's got a Disney dork shirt on. Come on, you're gonna.
Listen,
the game's got to close out.
This is not my regular domain. For those that have seen me the couple times I've been live, I'm at my parents' house in Florida right now, visiting for the weekend. So I'm not in my regular space. Like I'm using my phone. It's probably going to die soon. So if I randomly cut off, that's what happened. So
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But the point is, and I watch so much content. I can't remember who said this, but basically like let them use the platform. I think this was on Club Top Shot. Let the people on Top Shot use Top Shot, or else they are completely disassociated from how people feel, what people are complaining about, if it has validity, what's going on in the queue, what's going on in the market. There needs to be some way, and I that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a slippery slope there because those guys have insider knowledge, and
of course,
I think Top Shot has gotten into trouble a few times with claims of insider trading or people having access to information that other people don't. But as long as you just let them buy and sell common stuff, let them play in the Series 3 60,000 tier. I think that's good. I think they need to understand how the marketplace works. I think they need to understand consumption behavior. They need to see how these pumps happen with these flash challenges. I totally agree. They need to be in the platform because otherwise, they don't understand the nuances. And this is a very nuanced platform. Right.
So let's get back to office hours. So I'm just gonna run through these things for people who aren't aware. And if anyway, so Dream Shaker's already fudding this idea. He's like, insider trading scandal.
He's right.
You're done if that happens.
He's right.
I would just think though that there must be some way that whatever. Even if they don't have to use it, then do what we just talked about. Do a collector's council.
You know what they can do? Build their own platform. They already have whatever goes into the customer facing platform. Build a Top Shot platform. Duplicate it for all people that work at Top Shot. It doesn't actually affect the real marketplace. Let them trade amongst themselves. It doesn't have any real world ramifications. Why can't they do that? Let them get the reps, get the experience, learn how the product works from the inside without messing with the sanctity of the bond that they have with collectors in terms of trustworthiness.
Yeah.
I just think that like a happy medium between the two.
Yeah.
It's not like they have billions of dollars or anything in the valuation to mess around with.
Yeah, I know, but I just think the authenticity wouldn't quite be there if you're like staging a Top Shot. But anyway, let's get back to your we got the Roham rewards mentioned a couple months. We talked about that, not very clear, but at least they're talking about it. We got the team sets, the leaderboard thing, the roadmap they're saying is going to be clearer, so that's something to look forward to, hopefully happening sooner rather than later. The flash challenges to me is the huge win. I'm guessing you guys probably feel similar. I love the flash challenges. I don't care what it necessarily does. It pumps certain moments, sure, but when have we seen this kind of deal on Top Shot where people are all on Twitter sweating how many assists some random guy in the 5th spot has? To me, that's huge.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's anytime you can give people a reason to lean in on a day-to-day basis, I think it's a good thing. The stakes are low, right? Like there's not much at stake. If something pumps $2, $3, $4, $8, like who cares? But the engagement is key, and especially with new users. The goal is to onboard basketball fans, right? Like basketball fans, they watch games, they care about who leads teams in different statistical categories. So this is their language. I think it'll allow some of the new people to have a much more basketball-centric experience with the platform, which is good for growth.
Yeah, Clegainz, you got a hot take on that, or you got a hot take on any of the other items on page 1 here?
As far as like team sets, obviously everyone's excited about that. I think that it's been kind of long hinted at that eventually will be rewarded in some way. Obviously the challenges that are happening weekly are great, and engagement's key. I don't think everyone's going to complete every challenge. The Wantesco Anderson that just like I sold mine for 33. I had 2 of them, right? The fact that someone was buying it for $33 to complete a challenge, I thought was a little interesting to say the least. But people are going to do what they're going to do, right? You never know what you'll get in some of those base set 2 packs, especially because the collector score is obviously higher than the S3 packs. But I'm just looking at the roadmap here. Roadmap, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I personally am okay with the roadmap not being super specific. Maybe a hot take, maybe not. I kind of like some of the surprises. I like when they hint at things and say, hey, there are going to be things along this nature coming up, but I don't need to know every single detail, right? Obviously, certain details are important, but I do like the surprise factor because I think it keeps the anticipation there. Like you're constantly kind of like wanting to know, what are they going to come out with next? I think if you know too much too far in advance, it could kind of take away from that excitement factor. But obviously some kind of, general roadmap is important, of course.
But knowing what you're working towards is important. I think that's my one big critique for Top Shot over the last several months is like, what are we actually building towards? They've teased real world utility and things of that nature. They've teased rewarding collectors, all these things. But like at some point we need to put some meat on the bones because people can't keep flying blind. So that would be my one add-on in terms of the roadmap. I agree with you. I think spontaneity is fun, and like these flash challenges show it, like it's super exciting and kind of spur of the moment. But we need to have a little bit more context around like why are we collecting these things? Like what is it leading to, or are we just?
But that's a good question then for both of you. Then both of you, why are you collecting moments on Top Shot?
You go first.
All right. To be honest, I think as far as what information we need to know the most is when is marketing happening, and in conjunction with that, when are we out of beta? Right. That's what everyone always asks. Are we still in beta? You see, trolls on Twitter. That's what they're replying to our tweets with.
Right.
I think those are both solid points. Right. We've been in beta for a while. Are we eventually going to get out of it? That's the end goal. And I think that once we're out of beta, or once we're very close to being out, that's when you'll start to see, promotions at NBA games. You'll start to see commercials during, TV timeouts. You'll see the TNT crew talking about it live, right? And I think that's why I'm personally, continuing to collect, continuing to get in now, especially when there's a dip in the market. I foresee eventually a huge marketing push, right? This is the NBA we're talking about, multi-billion-dollar international corporation with fans all over the world. It's not going to fail, as Packrip said earlier on the show, right? And I think it's only going to get bigger once they start to market like they really have the ability to.
Right. So then it sounds like you're kind of like me, where you're just collecting because of this sort of generic trust that something is going to happen. You don't exactly know what. You don't even necessarily need to know what, potentially, but you just that's how kind of I felt. Also, it's just like, well, I'm early, and then of course it like smacked us on the face when you weren't so early as you thought.
Yeah.
But that's the idea. It's like something's coming,
Yeah.
and I don't know,
Early,
Jay, if you have
and
anything
believe
to
in
add
the
to that,
product.
or yeah.
I mean, blind faith is a little bit of a dangerous, slippery slope. I think
Aren't we all gamblers here?
we are, and that's exactly it. I
Unfortunately.
got involved because I'm a gambler, and I thought this was the stock market of the NBA, and I thought, being an NBA fan, you could use that to your advantage. You could find, the good buys. You could sell high, buy, like all that stuff. That didn't really turn out to be true. But I've doubled down and tripled down, since I came to that realization. So I think your question is a valid one. Like, why are we still in, and why are we still buying? I think for me, and I've said this before, as an adult, I've never really collected anything. And it turns out it's kind of fun to collect stuff. And obviously the platform has, very, I would say, mediocre at this point gamification. I think, like you guys, I have a sense and a hope that the gamification, that the rewarding collecting behavior is going to dramatically improve over time. I do think that, the original promise of this brings us closer to the game and it rewards fandom. I love going to games. I like meeting players. Like, that's all fun. And I think the anticipation is that we'll be part of it. But I'm not going to lie. Like, still, the intent is, I think my LeBron debut is going to be worth a lot more money in 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And that's what I want. This is a financial platform, and people are investing real money. I have hopes of financial gain at some point in the future, and an enjoyable collecting experience until then.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. So let's just take a look at what else we got here. The flash challenges, the sellable packs on NFL was kind of a bummer to that, but understanding that why that's the case, it's because obviously they got to create something and then use that code and build something new. But anyhow, bid system, we're really hoping that does come to pass. That'll definitely help with the undercutting and such. Queue improvements, great. Why not? Airdrops, cool. Mobile app, definitely. I think mobile app is actually underrated at how much of a difference a mobile app will make. So let's really hope. And let's just see a couple comments here. The Snake is saying the Dapper won't have these exclusive rights forever. Poker Pro Eric is saying that Candy might get them. Daniel's saying they have changed some things, but this rate it might fail. So a little fudding in the chat. Yeah, it's hard to say. Obviously, I mean, I definitely think that. Well, actually, I don't know. Do you guys know if like Candy's as big of a behemoth as Dapper?
I mean, they've got plenty of money behind them. They've got plenty of legit investors. They've got Gary, who talk Gary. About a charismatic CEO who will stop at nothing for success. And besides Candy, there's dozens of other companies, platforms that exist and don't even exist yet. That competition's a good thing, and these guys have first movers advantage, and it's theirs to lose. If they build a platform with 1 million hardcore passionate customers who are engaging it every single day, and people aren't going to leave. So it's theirs to lose. They have every opportunity in the world to make this the generational product they say they want it to be.
Yeah, it would be hard to believe that they could fumble with this kind of a head start, let's say. Yeah,
Hey,
all right.
values keep declining though by 10% a week, 20% a month. Anything's possible. Like they need to take care of the marketplace. They need to take care of the financial aspect.
But we've seen this before, right? We've been here. We've seen dips, and everyone freaked out, right? People started to panic sell. Oh my God, Top Shot's failing, and then what happened? They make one big announcement, and right back up it goes. So
it's a very fickle audience.
Yeah, that's the NFT space for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's some more notes. Personalized challenges. Did that make any sense to you guys? That made no sense to me. Personalized challenges?
I don't necessarily remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
Is that like team challenge? Like if you're a Nets fan, or maybe Nets are selected as your favorite team, then you can complete a challenge.
Would make sense.
Is that what that means? I don't
that
know.
would make sense. Actually, that would be a good explanation.
I think their goal is to reward different people in different ways depending upon the scope and scale of how they collect on the platform. I think utopia for them is every collector has a personalized experience, to Clegainz. What's your actual name? Do you have a real name?
Yeah, my name's Greg.
To Greg's point, it's just weird saying that. I call Tandy Simon in my house. To Greg's point, if you're a Nets fan, then your experience perhaps should be Nets centric. If you're a fan of a particular player, if you're a fan of a particular set, I think that's personalization at scale is the goal for every company on the planet, especially a Web3 company. So I'd be shocked if they don't go more in that route.
Yeah.
I want to really quickly. I saw Poker Pro Eric mention that they didn't have 60,000 mint before and never had minus negative EV packs. I get where you're trying to go with that, but at the same time, they are going to have to increase mint count as we get new users in. And this is more speculation than it is fact, but I feel like they were planning to be closer, if not out of beta, by the time Series 3 came around. Obviously, as we saw, we got closer to the start of the season. There started to be some, issues on the site, things they were trying to experiment with that weren't really going how they planned. And I think that really kind of pushed back their out of beta and big marketing push for the season, because I think we all thought, especially when we saw what happened in Summer League in Vegas with the Top Shot booth and, seeing it on the screen, on the big screen in the arena, I think we all had this expectation of shit's going to really hit the fan once the season starts. And I think just the little bugs that they ran into kind of pushed that back, and they were expecting more new users than they're getting right now. But I still am confident that when they are ready to get to that point, I think they've learned from their past mistakes. They will put out that marketing and get those new users they're planning to get.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. Let's see what else we got here. And like and subscribe, people. I see our counters at like 16 and 30 of you are in here.
Let's talk about something controversial, Tandy. What? Give us
controversial.
Some controversial.
We can go to the controversial slides.
Stuff to talk about.
All right. Let's see.
This is all easy. Yes, we want all this stuff. Yes, this is all good.
This is all good stuff. That there might be audio in the future on the moments. I know people like that.
Yeah.
Controversial. Yeah. Here's the things that I guess are a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
First of all, infinite objects to legendary set holders. I feel like this didn't need to be mentioned. I feel like
why? Who cares?
Well, exactly. Who cares? But like if I own a legendary set, which I don't, it means practically nothing to me. Most people who have one probably are already in the 9 Lives lounge.
Right.
So it's sort of, I don't even know why we would talk about it.
It could though be a good precedent for things to come. Right now, it's just legendary. Maybe it trickles down to rare. Maybe eventually certain commons that are, Hustle and Showroom, I know, is always out there on Twitter, right? Promoting and hustling and showing, right? Pun intended. But maybe it's just something that will happen in the future for other sets. I don't know. So it's not bad news, but it doesn't cater to 99% of the population.
I think the good precedent it sets, though, and whether it's infinite objects or something else, is real world utility for collecting. I mean, that was the promise. They haven't done any of it. Like, nobody's actually gotten anything except for the people who win the lotteries and get to go to games. So it starts with an infinite objects, whatever. It's $100 thing. Throw it out to 10 people or 100 people. Obviously, Steve Veerman and Alex will get 100 of them each, and they can
they'll have like stacked up to here.
But could you imagine next time you have Steve on your show, his whole background wall is just infinite object after infinite object all across his wall?
I would love that. But yeah, I mean, I suppose you're right then. if it sort of was meant to be a little bit of teaser of what could come, it just that wasn't really how it was communicated. So to me, it was sort of like celebrated, like "Ooh, Merry Christmas!" I was like, "Come on, guys, next topic."
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, I think that was more Jacob with the Merry Christmas. Like this is such a big deal. I think Roham was just like, "Yeah, we're doing this. We'll do this thing." It is what it is. Nothing.
Fair enough. Yeah. The next thing, no mention of hardcourt. I was kind of a little bit bummed about this, just because I think partly because if you look at the trends in the NFT market, and like I said earlier, you can't ignore the larger NFT trends as much as we want, as much as Top Shot may want to. I just feel like you can't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being ignorant, but I'd love to hear something about it. That I was kind of bummed that there's nothing about that. I don't know if you guys. You don't care.
Personally, I never really kind of understood. I guess I know gamification like needs to, or a lot of people want to see it, but personally for me, when I look at NBA Top Shot, right, obviously there's financial incentive, but also as an NBA fan and someone who like collected cards growing up, that's how I view it. And that's how I explain it to like my friends and family. I'm trying to, get on board it. I'm like, this is basically just digital card collecting. And that's as simple as I like to start off with it. And I think adding a gamification feature, especially one that probably isn't going to be up to the standards of like, 2K or like Madden, right? Like I don't know what to expect from it. So I think maybe that's why I'm not as excited. But I still don't see it being anywhere near like the 2K experience in my opinion.
I don't either. I'd be ignorant to think that we're going to match 2K. But if you go look at some of the games that are, you have to, is that what you just said?
Yeah. For a platform like this to tease this thing as the epicenter of the experience, if this game isn't the best basketball game in the world, they will get shit on so bad from every gamer boy who's part of this platform. Could you imagine the anger and disappointment?
How many are there though? Is what I'm very curious. I think someone, maybe you, Tandy, needs to put a poll out there. Like, how many people are really, really excited about hardcore? I would be very curious to know. I know I'm not. Right. Jay, are you really?
I'm not sitting home playing fucking video games. Sorry for the person.
Yeah,
not happening.
No. So like, I'm curious to see how many people out there really like. Yes, it sounds like it could be a cool, fun idea, right? Maybe for like a couple games here and there, but how much really can be put into it, and like, what's the end goal with the gamification? I know that moment ranks play. Not to go too.
That's the better play. That's the better play.
I think so too.
So here's my
triple down to that.
Make it a $1 million balance
every month. $1 million prize. Everybody's going to play that.
Take over FanDuel and DraftKings, right? Like exactly. You don't need to play a physical video game to have gamification for your moments. No. These are the moments in your collection. You could put them up to bat, make a 5-person layup, or lineup, 10-person lineup, whatever. Maybe they add a salary cap to it, like they do in traditional DFS, and really make some money. Yeah. With your moments, and maybe eventually they'll add like a buy-in feature, and that's, again, we're going light years potentially down the road. But these are the things that I think about, and I think that is way more engaging, fun, and in general just like will be more accepted than this video game that they're going to come out with.
Okay, I don't disagree with that. I do think it's very unlikely, as much as Jay wants it to be better than NBA 2K. Don't think it's going to happen. My point is, if you look at some of the other games right now, like let's look at a silly example right now in the NFT space. There's a game, I don't even know if there's a gameplay element to it, but there's like this wolf game. There's Bored Apes just talked about some like mobile game that they're releasing. Axie Infinity does crazy numbers. What is it? It's like a little crappy game with little colored blobs. My point is, I think it's just a different sector.
No,
so all right. I think it's a different sector.
Here's why you're wrong. It's different today.
Go ahead.
Right? Like right now, especially the early adopters in Top Shot, mostly NFT people, crypto people who are of this world. But when Top Shot scales, it's going to be to basketball fans. It's not going to be to crypto people. It's not going to be to NFT people. You can't compare it to what works in the NFT space. These guys want people who love basketball, who, probably are more interested in betting on games and doing fantasy sports than sitting home playing video games. It's dads, it's lawyers, it's doctors, it's normal humans, not just kids sitting in their mom's basement, trading NFTs all day. That's the ubiquity. That's the scale that Top Shot wants and fully intends to embrace. That's the whole premise behind Flow. It's supposed to scale to the normal universe of people, not just NFT. This is not an NFT product. It's just not.
Oh, I mean, that's your take. You're allowed to have your take.
I see video games being a thing eventually, but my problem is NBA Top Shot making another potentially competitive basketball game versus NBA 2K. Seems a little weird. Also, I'm seeing in the chat just really quickly people talking about, make something new, not copy and paste, FanDuel, DraftKings. We're not all fantasy players. You don't have to be a fantasy player. Just because it exists doesn't mean you have to participate. That's just
For sure.
all I'm going to say about that. And if you have a better idea, I'd love to hear it. But the whole gamification thing, there are going to be NFT crypto related video games out there. They're coming. Eventually there will be digital assets that you own from the video game that you could potentially buy and sell on, OpenSea or whatever other marketplace. I just don't know if that's the route that I see NBA Top Shot needing to take. But
yeah. Actually, Jeb wants NBA Street 2. I want NBA Jam personally, because that's what I was going to say.
NBA Jam's happening, just on a different product.
NBA Jam is happening?
Yeah, you into ballers?
Oh, okay. I mean,
do you have your ballers, Tandy? That's what
I wish I did. I don't have one.
I don't have one yet,
bro. If you want NBA Jam, this is an alpha. Everybody knows this. That's what Ballers is building.
Okay, if you say so, Jay Metz.
That's what I'm saying.
But here we go. Top Shot maybe enjoy NBA again. There you go. And Poker Pro Eric's got some EA Alpha. My mom lives 2 blocks away from EA World headquarters. They have child daycare, employee shuttles, outdoor hops court, not hoops, hops, and gym and more. Dapper will never compete. Well, I mean, Dapper will probably never build an outdoor hops court. That's for sure.
Dapper they will partner with EA and build the game. If Dapper does build a game, it's not going to be from Dapper. It's going to be with one of the biggest gaming companies on the planet, EA or one of those other guys.
Yeah, I hope that is what happens, and that's what someone in the chat also said. Like that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
So let's just see what else. Yeah, again, nothing about on-site making the site a more sticky site. Let's say because as I'll go also on Club Top Shot, they were talking about how you go to the site, you look at your account, you buy a moment, you fill out a challenge, you leave the site. So I feel like there's way more they can do there. I mean, look how social we all are on Twitter. We're on these streams together. There's so much desire there for the community to engage and interact and add friends and talk crap and do whatever. And that just isn't there. I wish I heard something about that. What I talked about just now about the NFL packs being tradable before NBA kind of sucks, but I understand it. And talking about turning the marketing tap on, I feel like it would just be pretty cool if they could just give us an idea, even just a crumb, something, just so we kind of know and it doesn't just feel pie in the sky like it has probably for the last year whenever they talk about things. So those are kind of like my hotter takes in this.
The answer is they don't know. They don't know. They'll turn on marketing when the platform is sturdy enough to support more people, and B when they feel like the people are ready for it. Like I think they thought they were doing marketing, right? Like they thought they were doing marketing when they showed up at all these events over the last year, and it turned out nobody really cared because that's not really marketing. And they thought it would be PR worthy and they get a lot of word of mouth from it. But sending 5 people to a game, it's great for those 5 people, but nobody else really cares.
No, they have to go. They have to splatter everything, just like DraftKings did, honestly. Yeah. That's what they have to do. So until that happens, I wouldn't say like marketing is turned on. Like you get Dwayne Wade to release a pack that's
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I mean, people care, but we are seeing increases in users. But if we're talking about that massive footprint, massive impact, it's not going to be until we see things like the DraftKings and that kind of deal. But
you can't have that until you have a platform that is ready to take in all those potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of NBA fan new users, right? You can't start that marketing if your platform's not ready for it. And that's what I continue to try to preach. Eventually it's going to happen. They're not building this. They're not signing deals with Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant and, partnering with the NBA and NFL to not market it, right? That doesn't make sense. They're in this to make money at the end of the day. But they've learned that, hey, maybe you shouldn't onboard a bunch of new users when we can't necessarily handle it. Right. So I like that they're taking a step back. It sucks because I'm excited and I want to see that growth. I want to see the marketplace go up. I want to see all these early people see some potential gains from their investments. It'll come. Right. And it's hard to stay patient in this space, especially. But that's how I try to look at it and, stay optimistic.
Yeah. I think it's not just when the platform is ready. I think it's when the marketplace mechanics are ready as well. I think they probably thought with the Dwayne Wade promotion, for example, that they'd pull in a ton of people. And I think they did. Lots of people came in for the free pack, but they didn't actually turn into real users, right? Like they were here for the free thing. And then the way that the marketplace worked wasn't what they were looking for. So they didn't actually retain them or turn them into actual customers. So I think part of the fear is, the platform's too slow. The queue is clunky. The gamification isn't really there yet. But the marketplace mechanics aren't there either. Because if you get 30,000 people all of a sudden to come to the platform, but they don't see the joy or the potential or the ROI in diving deeper, then what are you doing? You're burning your chance with those 30,000 people. You're better off waiting to talk to those 30,000 people until you have marketplace mechanics in place that you can convert them into power users, because that's the only way this thing thrives.
Yeah, and I think they know that. I think he said that in the office hours too. So real quickly, to change topics just a little bit, unless there's anything here that we want to talk about. Yeah, let's change topics real quick. I wanted to quickly show you guys the S1, what we're looking at. So just so we're aware, and I know this is very different, but S1 release pack, November 30th, 350 trade tickets. This is for the degenerates out there with the steel guts, because as you can see here, here's some of the things you can get. You could be jumping for joy with a $12,000 LeBron James, or you could get a $100 Danilo Gallinari. So the volatility in this pack is insane, and I just hope that people truly understand that. And I saw that Jacob was talking about it. He did say it, to his credit, but I don't think people truly understand just how volatile this pack is. It's just out of control volatile. It's like nothing we'll ever see, or probably never see anything this volatile again. So I know, Jay, you said you're not going for it this time because you don't have the tickets.
Yeah.
Greg,
but if I had the tickets, I don't know. If
you had the tickets, would you do it?
I mean, let's be honest, probably.
And you, Clegainz?
The day's going to come, right, and you're going to want to do it. So I'm torn, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well. I could get the tickets, right? I put that out there on Twitter, similar as you have. If you're looking to get rid of some of your S3 moments, hit me up. Slide in my DMs. Let's work out a deal. The only reason I'm really thinking about it for this drop is because of how low the numbers are right now as far as how many people can even qualify. So that's very enticing to me. Now, the graph that you have up on the screen, keep in mind is this is if the packs are equally, they take all of the supply and they equally distribute it into each pack throughout these 18 months or whatever it is. We don't know if that's what they're doing. That's the hope, right? That's what, when we're looking at this chart, that's if they equally distributed the supply. You could get, is it possible you get, only the lower tier moments, or the majority of the moments in these packs are some of the lower tier guys, just because that's how the randomization works out. You don't know. So it is obviously a big risk. I think if I knew for sure that they were, splitting it up equally, that would entice me to do it more, because right now, looking at these odds, you have some pretty nice odds, in my opinion, right? For taking a risk, just looking at the LeBron, and there's multiple LeBrons, first of all. What else we got? The Giannis, Harden, Steph Curry, right? Those are some nice numbers. Even the Kawhi 850, right? You hit any one of those, you're good. Even the Harry Giles is 349. Of course, obviously, once these come out, the prices are going to drop a little bit now that there's more of it out there. But if I can get it when that day comes, I probably will go for it, just because I know I'm guaranteed a pack.
How many trade tickets you got right now?
So I haven't traded any in physically yet. I have.
Neither have I.
Collecting some moments. I think I've got, last time I counted, around 175, 200. And I've just been, I'm traveling. I don't even have my own laptop in front of me, so I haven't been able to get onto the marketplace. But I've also talked about potentially partnering up with a friend, right? You get 175. You get 175.
No, let's do it, man.
Go in.
Let's do it. Clegainz, you and me. Yeah. Let's do it, buddy.
Well, I've got someone that offer me already, so I gotta see him through first. I gotta give him first dibs. But that is enticing.
That's not a bad idea.
Maybe the second drop, right? We'll talk offline. But it's because that's if you do land it, right? Let's say you landed LeBron and you get the 12K, maybe it drops to 10K. Who the hell cares, right? That's still $10,000. That's $5,000 in both of your pockets, right? And you spent 175 times 3. Quick maths. I can't do that in my head, right? But whatever that is, it's a nice return. That's, and I'm sure maybe other people will also do go that same route, right?
I don't
think even if you get a bad pack, your losses are not as significant now, right? And if you resell it, you're maybe losing a couple $100 versus 400, 500, 600, whatever.
Yeah, and how much would it be worth to watch me lose $800 of value live on stream? People would probably enjoy that.
I think the other thing to remind people, Tandy, is we're going to get a lot of shots at this, right? They're going to probably do this every month for the next year and a half.
Right.
So every month they're going to do this trade ticket thing. Maybe some months you'll have to trade in more moments. Some months you'll have to trade in fewer moments. Maybe by a certain point, 60K moments will be $1 each. Maybe at some point people won't be able to give those shits away. So it doesn't really make sense to overspend for your trade tickets now. I mean, there's a lot of strategy that I think goes into it.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys were here when I was talking. I think you were like enjoying life, like some people like to do on Sundays, which is total crap. But I was talking about how the dynamic could potentially change quite a bit because Top Shot is going to see not that many people in the queue, large hit rate, and those values may dip because people are going to undercut each other, which means they'll then say, let's lower that trade ticket amount, not only because we didn't have enough people in the queue last time, but also because the median pack price is now lower. So it might be in your best interest to actually wait, potentially. Who the hell knows? But anyway,
you can look at it both ways, right? Because after the first pack, I'd be very interested to see if, like they do with traditional pack drops, they say, these are the moments that were selected for these 500 packs, right? You know how they do it with traditional base sets? Is like, this is what's in their serial numbers from X to X. If they give us like statistics or any data like that, and we know, that it is an even distribution like we're looking at here, I would want to go for it. Because then as time goes on, your chances of hitting one of these big names just gets lower and lower. And yeah, it may be true that they lower the amount of trade tickets you need, but at the same time, your chances of hitting big go down as well. So that's the only reason I'm kind of leaning towards going for it, especially if I do end up splitting, 175 with somebody. That's really like been my drive factor. So I tweeted at Live Token asking him, where are we at with the numbers? I know it's Sunday, but
it's tiny.
He hasn't given us an update in 2 days.
No, he did.
I'm just anxious to see. Did he?
Somebody did earlier today. I saw it. It was tiny.
Okay, I know he did the first one. I know that, but that was a couple days ago. I didn't know if he did one since. So I think it was like 30 people the first number. So it'll be interesting to see the next week or so, and especially as the Series 3 goes on and more base set packs come out, you could buy maybe 5 and 10. People are going to have more trade tickets available. So
yeah, we'll I have a sneaky suspicion though. Okay, there's only 38 LeBron TSDs, right? So I have a sneaky suspicion that they won't make that information public until literally the day of the drop, after you've already had to trade in your tickets, because then everyone would just wait. Be like, all right, let me calculate what my best shot at a LeBron is. Otherwise, I'm not doing this. So that's what I would think is going to happen. But let's see. It'd be a pleasant surprise if I'm wrong.
What happens if you trade in tickets? Not to keep this going, but what if you trade in tickets, you don't get a pack? Are we done? And I know I myself.
No. You use it the next time.
What if, my point is that our trade tickets can be used for something else besides.
Yes. Oh, you mean past all of this? I would imagine. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, trade tickets are
foolish not to.
Something that they want to incorporate into a lot of things moving forward.
So actually, Yeb is saying that we're about 150 people with 350 trashies, or should we say stinkies? Where's my stinky clip? Hold on, I haven't used that today, and we need to use it because it's one of my favorites.
Stinky.
Oh, we'll probably be using that later when I rip a pack, if we're being honest. But here we go. So let's move on. We got our challenges. We had that Top Shot. I mean, blunder, which feels like it was 17 years ago, which was the stacking, and they didn't do the QA, and everyone was all up in arms. Why aren't you guys doing QA? And it wasn't, in my opinion, and another person on another podcast, it's not so much the fact that they didn't do the QA, because if our accounts are going up, if everything was okay, there'd probably not be as much whining. It's just that it's like people are just like, get your shit together. Like we don't want to be whining about this anymore on Twitter. So people just use anything to sort of an excuse to get upset when they're already feeling upset. It's like when you have an argument with your spouse, right?
I just always
have one of those.
Keep it that way, Greg. Keep it that way.
Listen, I have a girlfriend, and she's every one of my friends get married around me, so I'm having a lot of pressure lately. So who knows how much longer I can hold.
That'll be a stream for another day, I think.
It's a bad look, though, Tandy. I think that was a real thing, and I think part of the community uproar around it wasn't that something bad happened for that challenge. It's things have been kind of sloppy a lot lately. Like Lisa Leslie's not 5'6", right? Like that. It's kind of disrespectful to the product to not give it the attention it deserves. It's disrespectful to the customer. And I think part of it is also, especially, the hardcore basketball fans within the platform, they're like, do these guys even get ball? Like, do they understand hoops? Like, why is the Tony Parker moment even a 3-pointer? Like, the dude shot 10 3-pointers in his, like that. Like, the whole thing starts to like not make sense. And then, when money's involved and people are putting their hard-earned money into this thing, they're like, do I have the confidence that I'm investing my money with the right company and the right people? Yeah. And, we demand perfection from the companies that we do business with. That's just the reality in 2021. So I think, of course, values going down is a big deal. But honestly, like, even if values weren't going down and the marketplace was good, like, it's just disrespectful to the people. Like, you just got to do better. And Roham was the first to admit it. He was on the phone 5 seconds after that thing came out, and he's ripping people's heads off. I guarantee you. He was not happy about that.
And I'm also really
right after.
Go ahead, Clegainz.
I was just gonna say it's just too many mistakes right after another. I think it's really why people are upset. One mistake here and there, you're human. It's gonna happen. Yeah. But consistently, like week after week, it was like, what the hell are we even doing anymore? So
yeah, and I think that's why Roham also said, like, I'm diving deep now, and I hope and I hope we see that. I hope that's not just him saying that on an office hour. I hope we truly see that. And I hope we don't see any more of this stuff anymore. And I think a big part of this is what other people are whining about too, about like the Flow Fest. And maybe that's why things are sort of falling off the side of the, and it does feel like that could have been a factor. And so hopefully that Flow Fest is done soon.
They're understaffed.
Then,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these Flash Showcase challenges. I absolutely love this idea. I think it's amazing. I really love it. Of course, it creates some inconsistencies in the market, like Juan Toscano-Anderson bouncing up so high and come back down. Again, I think the point here, and something that I think Metz said on Twitter, was like, you don't have to do everything. And I think the sooner people understand that, the better. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to enter every challenge. You don't have to buy a Juan Toscano-Anderson for $35 to get a pack that might be worth 15. You don't need to. It's like, eventually we got to put our big boy pants on and decide what is worth it and what isn't.
Well, that's part of the challenge that Top Shot has as a company, and they haven't cracked it yet, because deep down they are a gambling platform. Whether we want to admit it or not, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, the reason they got big was because people bet on it and won big, and then more people wanted in. And this is just a microcosm of gambling. So give the people what they want. Like, if this is a platform full of people that like the action and want the opportunity and are willing to take a big bet, for something in return, then that's what this platform at its best allows people to do. But yeah, I mean, everything's not for everybody. And like, FOMO is obviously really big, not just in the NFT space, but just in culture in general. We all kind of feel this undue pressure to be a part of everything and to not miss out on anything. And I think that's part of the reason that something like this happens. And that's a cultural thing. Like, that's not Top Shot. That's not NFTs. Like, that's just the world that we live in right now. And it's nobody's responsibility to tell people, yo, like, calm down. Like, you don't have to, get your hands dirty in every single thing that happens. And there's nothing you can do about that, frankly.
Right. Agreed. And something that really proves.
Yeah,
exactly. And to prove that point, we had the vintage vibes. You see that. You see how much it costs to complete. A lot of people are like, okay, I can't afford it. I'm not doing it. But I know Dream Shaker, who's in the chat, we had the 884 completions. And what was it, though? Was it a Shaq moment, or was it a Dwayne Wade handles moment? It felt a whole lot like a Dwayne Wade handles moment. And that then goes back to that whole thing that you were saying, which is like, who is the one deciding this? Austin went on Twitter. He said it's kind of coming from the NBA. So it's a little bit confusing, like where the buck stops and who's making the decisions on that type of a thing. I don't know. We're like, Jay, did you complete this challenge or no?
Yeah, I did. And I was not, satisfied with the end result. They cut out way too much. They cut out, what made the moment special. And, I've been talking all along since I got into this thing, like, if it ain't a moment, then it ain't a moment. Like, if we're going to call these things moments, like, they have to be meaningful. There has to be something happening in these, glorified video clips that years down the line we can attach ourselves to and have a conversation about and smile about and laugh about and reminisce about. And if you miss the essence of what made these particular moments, like the Shaq reaction. I mean, the cut was sloppy, and this goes back to our earlier conversation. It felt sloppy. It felt rushed. It felt like there was no quality control. 2 or 3 basketball fans who remember the play, who watched it as it happened, didn't have a chance to look at this moment before it got minted. And like, that can't happen. Like there needs to be a quality control process in place. And there's no way you can tell me that this particular moment went through any sort of quality control. Like, some dude made it and they went to the printing press with it. And this is what it was. It was not right. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think we should get too up in arms about it. But if we're going to be nitpicky, and if we're going to demand perfection, or at least something close to it, this moment was a big miss.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Just a really quick add on that. You said a lot of good points. And just to go back to your previous point about not having to complete every challenge, obviously in this case, you didn't know what you're going to get beforehand. Quick fix, why don't just preview it, right? Like, say, hey, this is going to be the challenge reward. This is what's going to be. Then you can make your decision whether or not you want to, spend all this potential money on completing this challenge. And also, I know, Time Lord did his little remake of it. And if you guys don't follow Time Lord, shout out Time Lord.
Beast.
I'm sure everyone here does.
If you haven't looked up the real play, or the play on YouTube or whatever, there's a great there's great footage of Shaq celebrating after the fact. He's got like his Shaq tough guy look on after the dunk, and that's what people loved about Shaq, right? And for them to not have that included, right? And maybe because the NBA didn't have it, or it was just not good enough for them, or whatever the case may be, right? Then why choose that moment, knowing that, right, there's going to be a critical point, or like a lot left out of this quote unquote Shaq moment? Why greenlight it? And those are the questions that I have. And I think that's why they've been so vocal lately, saying, hey, like, come work for our content team. We want people that are, 99 percentile with NBA knowledge, things like that. And I think they know, right? They know that there are things that they're missing and they want to improve on.
Here's my thought on that, though. We saw with the rookie moments, they did polls on Twitter. Why can't they do that for other moments, especially these important ones? Why can't they say, here's some options. Which ones do you guys like? I don't feel like that should be. Maybe we're just not understanding something on like the logistics side.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right.
Maybe.
And
there's a lot we don't know.
There's a lot of people in the community who I've spoken to personally who have many times submitted applications to want to join the Top Shot family, and half the time nobody even gets back to them. I mean, some of our favorite content creators in NBA Top Shot universe have gone out of their way to reach out to multiple people at Dapper many times, and like no response whatsoever on all facets of the product and the platform. So why? Who's in charge of those decisions?
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? You run into the issue of potential, insider information, because I don't know, have there really been
quitting, like no longer being collectors, done collecting.
Yeah, but okay, it's easy to say that, right? But then you've now, as a content creator especially, right, you've made a lot of friends, connections, and I just want, like, has there been an instance where like a collector or any content creator, really big or small, joined the Top Shot team after X amount of time? I don't think we've seen that yet. So I think for them, just knowing some of the previous issues that have come up with, insider information, I think that's why they've kind of not done really much with this yet.
No,
and I think they're starting to open up to it, but
no, I mean,
I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, but like everybody at Top Shot is close to everybody in the community, right? Like that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to dole out insider information. Like, legal is legal. If you work for a company and you sign an NDA and you breach that NDA, you get sued, or maybe worse. So like that's not it. Just because the content creators have friends, everybody has friends. I just think they don't have anybody vetting it. Who's leading the hiring over there? They don't have hirers to do the hiring, right? Like they obviously have a manpower problem. I think they haven't quite figured out how to get the right people in place in a whole lot of positions, and I think that's why a lot of the sloppiness occurs. But there's lots of people in this community who would stop collecting in a heartbeat and help build this generational platform because it means that much to them.
Right.
I said it myself, So
yeah, you said it. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. That's true. I remember that. All right, so let's keep running through
if
here.
If the offer came up, I'd be on the fence, but yeah, let's go.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, you can sort your collection. Not that exciting for me. I want to be able to make folders and stuff like that. I like the hidden folder thing that Packrip said. Another really weird thing, and I guess we're kind of going by a little bit quicker here, but another weird thing that Chris Otis saw was some OG was trading in S1 moments worth $5,000 as trade tickets, which was awfully strange. Another thing that happened was Dapper rugged us when I was buying some moments, and all of a sudden it said I had $0 of Dapper. That was crazy. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. You go real quick, and then I'll do the wrap it up beyond.
I'm all for OGs donating anything they want. Shout out library, whatever he calls himself. Yeah, man. Like if you're having trouble selling any of that good stuff, just donate it to the vault, and then Top Shot will figure out what to do with it from there.
It's a weird decision. I don't quite understand why you would just give it to the vault, but
maybe
what else to say about that?
Who knows? Yeah,
I think it's a flex.
Yeah, it's a flex. Yeah. This was really cool. Moment ranks partnering, it looks like, with Dapper, $10,000 a week if you play moment ranks. That is really great. It makes perfect sense. This is exactly what Top Shot should be doing when there's other cool third-party tools. Just get right involved right away. And then we'll talk briefly about the weekend NFTs, and then we'll rip a pack. So if you guys know anything about NFTs, there's an influencer called Art Chick. Apparently is this dude on the left, and that was a big deal. Yeah. So don't believe everything you read on Twitter is the story here. Be very aware of influencers. Here's another thing. Be very careful when you're buying NFTs on OpenSea. People are photoshopping fake check marks, so be super careful. Always double check. I've been scammed before. You will get scammed too if you're not careful.
Every time
then we've got racism.
What's that? Right-click save. Every time someone gets scammed, the people that say right-click save, that's a W in their column, right? So just do your due diligence and try to be a little bit smart so that we can prove.
Always look at total volume of a project. Always look at how many are listed. Always go back and forth. Make sure you're getting that link from like official Twitter, Discord, whatever. Be super vigilant. Be super careful. Racism is apparently selling nicely in NFTs. There's guys like a White Power. This project sold out, which is, I don't understand this. I guess there's a whole big white racist group that likes NFTs as well. It's a bummer. I feel like this also
people too, Tandy. Racists are people too.
Yeah, racists also enjoy collectibles apparently. Then we had this thing. We had the Baby Apes again. All these derivative projects. The Baby Ape Club came out, crappy looking art. They found out that people stole the artwork, they stole the code, and yet this project is still pumping. Then they found out that they also have super racist things going on in the artwork of this project. There's some jam jar on the head thing, which is a throwback to slaves or something like that were used during golf games to keep the mosquitoes away from the white people. There's the White Power, like suspenders, and the monkey power. I don't understand what's going on with NFT artists, why they're like sliding under the rug racism. I just don't get it. And then the
cancel
very
culture
next
is
day,
higher than ever. That's just, I don't know why you would even attempt to do anything near like that, but yeah.
I don't get it either, but obviously there's enough people who are like buying into this for some reason. I don't get it. Then you got the very next day, the Little Mutant Apes Club came out after this whole controversy the previous day. The NFT space is just drama, but breaking news, I'm going to release Little Baby Cosmics. It's coming out. Look out for it. I'm just kidding. All right. So that is that's the slide deck. That's what I cram for like an hour and a half before every show, guys. That's what I do.
Great
That's
job,
why
man.
other people are enjoying their Sundays.
You're a man among boys, Tandy. Let's be honest.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, this is America. SMH is right. Stan Love, the most washed member of the chat. Shaking his head. By the way, Greg, how's your battery power doing?
I actually plugged in, so I don't know if I moved. I have it plugged in now, so I don't have it propped up anymore. So I'm just holding it now because it would have died. It was at like 2%. I was cutting it close.
All right, so why don't we rip a pack? I'm gonna go look at my packs real quick. We're gonna rip a pack. We're gonna do a duck race, and we'll call it a night. Well, for me, it's late, not for you guys.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna hop off after the pack rip just because I think I have to go to dinner. So
all good.
I'll wait for the pack rip though.
What are you eating tonight?
I think we're going to a Cuban spot. So for those that don't know, I'm half Cuban, visiting my family that just recently moved to Florida down here. So we're gonna go to a Cuban spot.
Where you?
I made dinner last night.
Where
I live in Jersey City. I'm from Jersey originally. So
I'm from Jersey too.
Right
Where'd you grow
up? Union County. To not put too much information out there on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm from Essex County, but I lived in Hoboken for 10 years.
Yeah, so I'm in Jersey City right now, and
Yeah.
I got a really good COVID deal. You know, I have a really nice apartment, see views of the city, and
Ooh.
the rent is a lot lower than it should be.
I
So
bet.
I got really lucky.
Is this
Yeah.
the conversational magic that you were looking for today, Tandy?
Exactly it. All right,
is
let's
this
roll
what your
that
audience
back
wants?
to rip pack, and then we're gonna rip this pack. Let's go. All right, let's rip. Let's share that screen. Here we go. We're gonna rip. This is the one that we just won from the points. I think we're still waiting on the assists one, but here we go. Let's do it.
Let's go some pack magic in here.
Yeah, let's get some pack magic. My luck on packs has not been particularly good on stream. I don't know what
I
the
got a
best-
KD on my first flash challenge out of a base set pack, so I was pretty ecstatic. So I'm rooting for you.
All right, let's go. What are we thinking, chat? Where you want to go first? Let's see. Chat, you want middle, left, or right? Poker Pro Eric says
Hold on
4.
with that 4 joke. I've seen you say that like 10 times. So you got to give it up. I mean, I laughed, so I guess you don't have to, but I see you say it every time.
All right. Well, never left. Pick the LeBron first. Left, never left. All right. Let's go right. Here we go. We got a layup from the Knicks, and it's a Derrick Rose.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one
like
Nick
Derrick
I
Rose.
don't hate. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you gotta. Derrick Rose is a solid player. We like Derrick Rose.
Tragic story for him. Always what could have been, you know.
Oh, I know. But he really came back in a big way. Like when he scored, what was it? He scored like 50 points. Was it last season or the season before? And
Amazing.
that was amazing. All right,
Very
now
heartwarming.
let's go. I guess let's do it Hebrew. Let's go right to left. Oh, it's a
Oh,
nice
nice
cereal.
I don't think Greg is part of the tribe.
He's Cuban. I don't know many Cuban Jews, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm
Ty
half
Jerome.
Cuban, but yeah.
Ooh, it's a pretty cool highlight.
That's
That's like half court.
That's
a
what J.R. Smith
12,000.
should have done.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good
Classic.
moment, man. I don't know who this dude is. I'll be honest, but it's
It's a Top Shot debut. I don't know who he is either, but
It'll
I
be.
guess.
Oh, that's a win. Badges are a win.
He'll never have
Yeah.
another moment. So
Yeah, so you OKC collectors, you want this one, you got to go through me. Here we go. Layup on the Cavs.
Cleveland?
Sexy Sexton out for the year.
Sexton.
sad.
Another tragic.
Hey,
Yeah,
He was
I know.
he was looking really nice this season too.
Yeah, I really like Sexton. He was my biggest purchase of early adopters, which really didn't do so hot.
I mean, lack of moments maybe drives the price up. That's a. You know what? I'm not going to say it because I don't want anyone to steal my idea, so I'll just stay quiet.
Yeah, buy injured players.
Now everybody knows Greg's strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could figure it
all
out
right.
from that, kudos to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Greg, if you want to go eat that Cuban, what's it, ham, pickles, and mayo or something? What are they?
No, you know, we have the rice and beans, we have the shredded beef, we have the tostones. Like we've got a whole lot of it. You're thinking Cuban sandwiches, which are great, you know, but I won't be having that. I'm having more
Cuban
traditional
sandwiches
stuff.
are what? Ham, pickles.
Swiss. So I am American at the end of the day. I do like to add some hot sauce and stuff on there too. But a good Cuban sandwich is hard to come by depending on where you live. So if you ever go to Miami, it's basically Little Cuba there. Highly recommend going to like a Cuban coffee shop, getting some espresso with their Cuban bread. Very good. So
Okay. I used to go to a Cuban restaurant in New York City. It was quite delicious. So, all right, man. Well, you're making me hungry. But I'll let you go. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Take it easy.
See ya. All right. So Metz. Then there were 2. I think I'm gonna save. I thought maybe I'd have that assist pack, but I don't. So let's just do a little duck race for those in the chat, and you can win yourself your very own trade ticket.
That's exciting.
Hey, I
need
like
Jacob on here saying, "Oh my God, that's so exciting."
So let's see if I can get this this thing working when you got to do a keyword. I'm gonna try. So you got to say quack. So put your quack in the chat. Quack in the chat. Quack in the chat. Quack, quack, people. Get that quack in the chat. Either this thing isn't working. Oh, here we go. We got 10, 12. How many people are on live? 34. So there's 34 of you. I would imagine more of you than... All right, we got 20. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds. Let's go. Keep on quacking. Quack attack. Keep quacking. Keep quacking. We're at 23. Quack, quack, quack. Should we play some video while we keep quacking? A little kawaii laugh. We'll do the Anchorman one again since Metz is here.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
And why don't we do an Only Tans one? Because I appreciate you all for being here. You've unlocked my content. All right, final one, and then I swear I'm done. We want that live look in the Nine Lives Lounge. And Metz, you're in the Nine Lives Lounge, right?
Oh, it's amazing. It's my favorite place. It's the Soho House of the internet. Let me tell you.
All right, so let's take a look at that Soho House. So what's the latest in the Soho House? What are people talking about in there?
They're talking about nothing. There's nothing to talk about in there. We're waiting, man. We're waiting for something. Anything.
All right, patiently waiting. All right, so it looks like we got 25 of you, so I don't know what 11 you were doing, but better luck next time. Let's get that list going. Going to enter that in here. Just give me 1 second. 25. Give one last check to see no one's out in there. People, if you're on Twitch, better luck next time. If you're on Twitter, better luck next time. Let's set that 1 minute race. Let's set it. Let's go. We got 25. All right, we got 25. Let's share it. And we are going to get racing. And then we're going to say a good night. Good night to all of you. So let's go. Here's the duck race. Let's get it on. Let's get it on here. Here's the duck race. There's the ducks. All right, let's take a quick look at these ducks. We're going to shuffle them a little bit for good fun. Okay, so the judge thinks the naked ducks swim faster. We've got Batman duck, got Froggy duck. I like that the look of this frog duck. I'm not going to lie. We got this king duck. I think that's Poker Pro Eric. He's got the king. He's got the crown on his head. So let's go ahead. Let's see which one of you is the fastest duck. On your mark, get set. Oh, let's turn this off. Go. All right. Whoop. Out to an early lead is Jammers. Jammers is out to an early lead, but he gets caught in the quicksand. Here comes Bill Wong with the Batman outfit, but he gets overtaken by JP88. JP88 is in the lead. But here, all along the back comes Jammers D. But coming at the far end is Benjamin Tay. Tay with the lead. Tay is number 2 on your screen. Tay with the lead, but he is caught in quicksand again, and Bill Wong is coming back, but he is overtaken by Stan Loves with the crown. It was not Poker Pro Eric. It was Stan Loves. And here comes Malik Sealy. The naked ducks are in the front. But here comes the red duck with herpes. He's in the front, and he gets overtaken. And here comes Superluminal with the big beak. Will the big beak help Superluminal win? Down the stretch they go. We got the purple duck. We got the pink duck. We got the colorful ducks are in the lead, but who will take it? Will it be a naked duck? Let's see. This is the last 10 seconds. Are we going to get a naked duck? Oh, it's neck and neck right now. But is that frog going to take it? Is that Dream Shaker? Will he take it? No. Here comes Leon. Hyson de Leon. Hyson de Leon, congratulations. Hyson de Leon, not related to the Kings of Leon. Poker Pro, were you too heavy? I would guess you were too heavy, if we're being honest. Got to cut down on whatever you're eating. But this shows you that Naked Duck didn't win this time. So maybe it's not such a bad thing. But you can see he didn't have much on. He had like little Post Malone tattoos all over his face. He didn't have any gear on, nothing to fall in the water. So congratulations to Hyson. Hyson, there you go. Nice and easy. Top Shot PH. Is that Top Shot Philippines? or is that Top Shot? What else stands for PH? Any ideas?
You got me on that one, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Morrow. You know, last time when the judge was on, I felt like he had so much content on that race. I got to start watching like horse races to really get it. But I think that was pretty good. Thank you for enjoying. Yeah, Top Shot Philippines, big Philippines contingent that like to watch Top Shot stuff. I think he's still nude. He's just tattooed. I think you're right. And is he tattooed all over is the question. It appeared like he was. Anyhow, that is the show, everybody. I really appreciate you all tuning in. We got to officially dox Packrip Ewing. I can
doxed forever. What are you talking about, man?
Because people had to like
People
play
don't know.
detective and figure it all out. I just
my hope, Tandy, honestly, I think Packrip's a good looking dude. I think he's part of the clan and he should be proud of that. And I think he should show his face more often. Personally.
All right, I agree, and I think this could be the beginning of Packrip showing his face more often. There's Louis Locke saying nailed it. Kenny Lewis saying Zed needs to hire me for their live calls. Oh, I appreciate that. And Haisan, thank you, buddy. And you can actually DM me or tell me in the chat like if you have a favorite team, and if I have a ticket with your favorite team, I'll send it over. Thank you, Morrow. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you didn't mind this earlier start. This is way better for me. I'm less destroyed tomorrow. So I appreciate you all. And thank you, Metz, for coming on.
Always.
And I guess that's it. Let's see what Top Shot has for us next week. I feel like we can't keep ourselves off, right? I just can't leave you. I just can't quit you. What was that, the Brokeback Mountain quote?
We don't have to go Brokeback Mountain, Tandy. We can just say we love it. We're addicted to it. We hope the best for it. And we have all the confidence in Roham. Roham's the king.
Well said. All right. Well, on that, I just can't quit you all. And I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching.
Static Selector.